We got another one of them. Popping at the mouth or the side of his neck when he pouts. No argument, no rebuttal from. He ain't from my town, I don't know him, so I'm guessing he's a clown.
Welcome to 3 Count Commentaries. Today we're going to be discussing Impact Wrestling's Under Siege from May the 7th, 2022. Did you know that Impact Wrestling had a pay-per-view? I did, because I watched the show. But a lot of people didn't know that Impact Wrestling had a pay-per-view. But we're going to talk about it today because some stuff happened. You know, things finally happened on Impact, and things only really happen when Impact is live. Nothing happens on their taped shows. So, before we really get into the show, matter of fact, let's talk about it all right here. 4 people have left Impact within the last month. The Inspiration being 2 of those members. And the next 2 will be in Willie Mack and Jonah, both of whom contracts have expired and have declined to re-sign with Impact. Now, Willie Mack has been with Impact for at least 2 or 3 years now, ever since his deal with WWE fell through. And Jonah, of course, was released. He's a thick boy from NXT. He was working New Japan and also working in Impact, and he'll be going somewhere else. I think a lot of guys are just getting the hell out of Impact. Impact has so much churn. There's so much churn on their roster that it's almost, kind of embarrassing. Because some of the mainstays are not really mainstays as much as they're just there longer than other people, But we see 2 people leave. We see 2 people come in. So Sammy Callahan has returned. He returned in a segment with Moose, as Moose was threatening to hijack the show later on until he got a proper rematch for the world title, because he felt like he didn't get enough time to prepare for his rematch that he got. I think it was Thursday. No, it was the week before. So I think he got a rematch 6 days after he lost the title, and he lost again, of course. But he claimed there wasn't enough time, and he was going to hijack the show. And then Sammy Callahan returns. And they have been doing vignettes to hype up Sammy Callahan's return. I don't remember whether Moose was involved with Sammy Callahan's original injury or not. He had been gone for so long. I think he had broken his leg. I don't remember. I think it was. Yeah, I don't remember. I'm not even about to lie. I don't remember. I'm not a big fan of Sammy Callahan, if we're being honest. I call him the warthog. He's fat and gross and weird looking. But he's a big star for Impact, and he seems to be one of the guys that genuinely likes working there and likes to stay there. People like him and Rosemary, are mainstays in Impact, and then they seem to be like the franchise players, so it's good to have him back. The other return was Mia Yim. So Mia Yim returned after Deonna Purrazzo failed to defeat Taya Valkyrie for the AAA Reina de Reinas Championship. Deonna Purrazzo continued to assault Taya Valkyrie and was going to beat her up again. And then lights went out. Mia Yim shows up. Mia Yim stares down Deonna Purrazzo. Deonna Purrazzo backs off. And then Deonna tried to attack her from behind. And then Mia Yim fought her off. It was funny because I saw pictures of Mia Yim. And there was a story that was out there about how she, quote, had let herself go. She had gained some weight since all the time she had been off. And it makes sense. She hadn't been, maybe she had been working out, but not as much. She took time to get married. I mean, she's not like obese or anything, but she is certainly heavier than she was before. Seems that her and her husband have the same issue. The difference being she's barely visible while Keith Lee is big as a fucking house now. But I didn't see it and look at her and say like, oh, she's super fat or anything like that. But she is, heavier than she was before. Now, this is a good pickup for Impact, of course. They need more female talent. Their women's division is their focal point. So I don't mind that Mia Yim finding a home in Impact. I think it was great. I think a lot of people was wrong-headed to think that she was going to be going to AEW. Now, I thought she'd have been perfect for AEW, but sometimes people slip through the cracks. I know that she and others were released around the same time. I know Candice LeRae is now out there on the indie markets too, even though she just had a baby, so she's probably not going to be wrestling anytime soon. But AEW is probably going to be looking more towards her, who is an indie darling, who is a big friend of the Young Bucks, as well as Athena, who is another bigger indie name than Mia Yim. So it seems that if you are a third tier indie star like a Mia Yim, you'll escape AEW and you'll end up in Impact. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that because she's probably going to get more attention in Impact. She's also probably going to achieve more in Impact than she probably would in AEW. But the difference is there's going to be such a small audience. So pretty much Impact ends up just being a stopgap spot before people move on to something else. And that really kind of damages the Impact brand because they can't hold on to talent. And it's a really big issue. You know, sometimes guys only come in for a short stint, and that was only ever supposed to be a short stint. And usually that's kind of how it is anyway. But, you know, you see that Impact wants to keep some of these people around for a longer period of time, and they can't. Jonah, for instance, he pretty much came in to work with PCO. He did. That was pretty much his longer form story. He had matches with Tomohiro Ishii and matches with Josh Alexander, and yeah, okay. But his angle, his real angle was with, well, I guess he had an angle with Josh Alexander, but his real angle was with, you know, PCO. He had a trio of matches with PCO. He beat PCO twice, and then he lost to PCO in the throwaway match, or I'm sorry, the go home match, which was his last match in the company, Jonah's last match in the company. So they get talent. Talent leaves. That's the nature of Impact. You know, there's a lot of churn, but let's get into the rest of the show. Madison Rayne was defeated by Giselle Shaw. Because Lady Frost is gone, apparently she's dealing with a stalker similar to Sonya Deville. So she's not going to be at the tapings or showing up anytime soon. So they replaced her with Alicia Edwards. So Alicia Edwards is going to be the partner hanger-on of Giselle Shaw. Okay, whatever. Giselle Shaw just is a giraffe-looking motherfucker, you know. The Briscoes, yes, the Briscoes. They cut this crazy promo on Under Siege about the tag team titles coming to them, and they're magnets for tag team championships. They kept calling it like the ionosphere or the atmosphere or whatever, and going rah, rah, rah. It was like a real cartoonish, over the top promo. Nothing like the wild and crazy Briscoes of Ring of Honor. Where they're not quite the Bushwhackers yet. They kind of look like the offshoots of the Bushwhackers these days, but they're not quite the Bushwhackers yet. But it was a silly promo, and I loved it. I thought it was great energy behind it. They're letting Mark do most of the talking in Impact. He does most of the talking now, even though Jay did most of the talking in Ring of Honor. And they won the tag team championships from Violent by Design in a really fine match. They won with the Doomsday Device. They have been passing around these tag team titles in Impact. It seems like every time a new team come in, they immediately win the tag team titles. Almost immediately. They did it with Juice Robinson and that other boring guy, Finley. They did it with them. They did it with some other guys too, who I'm trying to remember. But they never really give you a long run with the Impact tag team titles. You're only tag team champions for your stay. And then you put over the next team and you go away. So I'm not under any belief that the Briscoes are going to be here long term, but they're there for now, and they're the tag team champions. And it's been very cool because the Briscoes, since Ring of Honor started back up, they won the Ring of Honor tag team titles, sort of, and that was very cool. And I loved that. They had the excellent match with FTR where they dropped the tag team titles to them. They won the GCW tag team championships. They ended up losing them to a woman and a gay dude, which, you know, Bussy is very over in the GCW audience, so I'm pretty sure it didn't hurt them any. And now they've won the Impact tag team championship. So it's been very cool. They've been winning titles all over the place. The Briscoes, if it were possible to get them in WWE, I would definitely want them there. Just so they could finally get the tag team title. And WWE doesn't care about tag team championships, but that would be something that would be a great feather in the cap of the Briscoes to have had this hell of a run in 2022, late 2021, 2022, where they won the Ring of Honor tag team championship, the GCW tag team titles, the Impact tag team titles, and the WWE tag team championships. That would be very fucking cool. And they were already a great tag team. But it would take them to the next level if they were to get on national TV. Like winning the AEW tag team titles they just care a lot more about tag teams. And then, of course, you're in the sphere of a certain group of people when you're in AEW, and you're only allowed to succeed so much when you're in AEW, because their tag team champs have been basically invisible. Like, they've been winning matches and stuff, but they haven't had any angles, any storylines, or anything. You know, they're basically not quite closet champions, because they actually do defend, but they're not highly visible. While in WWE, you have two highly visible tag teams, but they're more likely going to lose 100,000 non-title matches, because WWE doesn't give a shit about tag teams. So the Briscoes are a highly valuable tag team. I think they could be very fun guys. I really am a super fan of theirs. I love the Briscoes. So seeing them defeat Violent by Design was very fun. I knew they were going to win, of course, when I saw that the team that they were going to be wrestling was going to be Eric Young and Diener. Whenever Diener is involved in a Violent by Design match, he's taking the loss. He's taking the pin. He's there to eat the pin. He's the pin eater of this team. And they're going to eventually have to kick him out of the group, right? Like, Violent by Design is, it's a very cool stable. I like it. They've kind of gone off track a little bit. You know, the whole Good Brothers thing had them in a tizzy, because I wasn't sure whether they were babyfaces or heels. In this situation, they had gone back to being heels, because the Briscoes were the babyfaces. So that was fine. But they started out with a mission statement, and I think they kind of meandered a little bit, and they need to get back on track. And I think they kicked out Rhino for losing a lot. And now it's time to kick out Diener, right? Eventually, at some point, you have to kick this motherfucker out, I believe. So maybe replace him with somebody else, but who? I don't know. I don't even know who's on Impact's roster. I don't even think technically Impact has a roster. There's probably 5 fucking people signed to the company. And it's probably like Rosemary, Sammy Callahan, and probably 3 other folks. And that's it. Everybody else is just transitory. But seeing the Briscoes win the tag team titles was fun. I really enjoyed that. And I fuck with the Briscoes heavy. The second match on the show, Steve Maclin was defeated by Chris Sabin via the Cradle Shock. Steve Maclin is one of those guys, again, he's just churning his wheels. He's there. He shows up. They treat him like he's a big deal, but he doesn't really go anywhere. While Chris Sabin is apparently, I don't know, John Cena. I don't know. He fucking beats everybody. He fucking beats everybody, man. He just dumps everybody on their head, bro. All right, so Trey Mcgill versus Ace Austin. This was a very good match. Not quite the X Division of old. I keep saying that, even though it's been this way since 2015, 2014. But remember when X Division title used to be a main event belt? Hey, the Intercontinental title used to be one too. Hey. But Trey Mcgill cut a promo before the show saying that he feels like he's been chasing Ace Austin his entire time in Impact. And that he has never pinned Ace Austin anywhere in any company outside of a tag match in Philadelphia. And he said that this match is going to be specifically special because the X Division title was his favorite belt, and he even had it tattooed on his leg. And saying that Ace Austin took it from him, and he's going to do whatever it takes to get it back. And they had a good match, and Ace Austin won with the fold. Okay. Ace Austin was one of the guys I think that they had dropped the ball with, and they continue to drop the ball with, because they don't let him go forward. And it seems that Trey Mcgill is another one where they just refuse to let these guys go forward. It's like, okay, there's only so much we can do with this X Division shit. All right. It's like, all right, it's becoming like WWE's Cruiserweight division, where it becomes a ceiling and you can't go beyond it, and it takes for you to be in the company. Like, you have to be Chris Sabin, who's been in the company forever, so he doesn't get hit with the X Division glass ceiling. And, like, some of these guys are being hit hard with this X Division glass ceiling. And Trey Mcgill and Ace Austin are just 2 of those guys. It's like, okay, it's time to move them on, I think. 2 or 3 years in the same spot is, that's got to be frustrating. 2 or 3 years in the same spot. But the match was good, at least. The fifth match on the show, Honor No More defeated the Bullet Club. The Bullet Club consisted of Jay White, El Phantasmo, Chris Bay, and the Good Brothers. Honor No More consisted of Eddie Edwards, Kenny King, Vincent, and the OGK. Honor No More actually wins the match with Mike Bennett pinning at Carl Anderson. And this is a good match. I love a good brawl. Even though I'm not a fan. I was more of a fan of Honor No More when they first started, before they became regular members of the Impact cast. They felt like invaders before. Now they just feel like leeches. And there's a difference between, invaders and leeches, They're directionless now. Because, the Bullet Club are also an invading force in Impact. They're the incumbent invaders. They come in and they go out. They come in and they go out. So you would think Honor No More in the Bullet Club wouldn't be at odds, and yet they are. And that's because of the OGK and the Good Brothers and their feud, where the OGK hit the Good Brothers in the nuts. Jay White look, he's very good. He obviously going to be a New Japan guy. He's going to go back to Japan. El Phantasmo really kind of threw me for a loop in this match, because he did some stuff where he was just doing like tumbles and running around, and all he did was a back rake. Like, he was performing all of these tumbles and runs, and this is what people think charisma is. It's like, no, you just look like a fucking goofball. Like, what are you doing? Like, he's rolling and cartwheeling, and then he just runs and does a back rake. And everybody's like, ha, 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 ha. I'm looking like this, like, what the fuck? What the hell is this? Why are you doing that? That's stupid. This is fucking dumb. Doesn't matter. Chris Bay is another guy who got hit with the X Division glass ceiling. He's not allowed to go any further than the situation that he's in. So it is what it is. Honor No More wins. I guess they needed a win. I'm pretty sure a lot of these Bullet Club guys are transitory. They're going to be on their way out. Like, especially Jay White and El Phantasmo. They're not really Impact guys. Chris Bay is an Impact guy, and the Good Brothers kind of are too. But, it's hard to tell anymore who's an Impact guy and who isn't. Tasha Steelz defeated Havoc to retain her Knockouts championship. This match was fine, Tasha Steelz is in a situation where she went from barely winning singles matches at all to being like an unbeaten champion. It's okay. It's all right. I don't have a problem with that, but the Knockouts division is kind of weak now. They kind of needed Mia Yim to come in, because Deonna Purrazzo is being moved out of the way, and Mickie James has been moved out of the way. So, they've been giving Tasha Steelz her space in order to, settle herself in a role. So that's good. Of course, unfortunately, it seems like she may end up getting replaced by Mia Yim. I can see them putting the belt on Mia Yim because she's a more known star, but maybe not immediately. Hopefully they don't do it immediately and have, just her come in and beat Tasha Steelz and hold the belt, and then have Tasha Steelz beat her so Mia can go off and do something else. Hopefully it's not that, but Tasha is, doing good. She's having a great run, as a champion right now. And in the main event, Josh Alexander defeated Tomohiro Ishii. I had this. Come on. Tomohiro Ishii. Whatever, bro. The match was, of course, hard hitting because they both committed to being chopped in the chest as hard as possible. Incredible work rate match, and I don't mean incredible and I was on the edge of my seat. I mean incredible as in I opened up a comic book and flipped through it while they were doing, boring shit. Because there was no build to this match other than Tomohiro Ishii was chosen as the top contender due to him defeating Jonah at the last show, at the last pay-per-view event, I think it was. Or was it on Impact? I think it was on Impact. He was handpicked to wrestle Josh Alexander. So that was the build for this. There was no build for it. And therefore I was kind of like non-committed to watching the whole entirety of it. But I did watch most of it. I didn't completely ignore it. It wasn't Giselle Shaw versus Madison Rayne, where I basically made dinner, read comics, did a bunch of other stuff during that match, and then came back at the very end. So it held my attention, I guess. So what did you guys think of Under Siege? Like, share, and subscribe, y'all. And I'll talk to you guys later. Peace out.
Skin tone, so why attach yourself and piggyback the wealth you didn't earn or lack yourself? I'm telling you to own up to your own success and failures. It's a reason why these sleazy